Hi, I'm Vickie Hall with Remax Masters Millennium, and we're here in the Mount Albert studio in Greenwood Village. And I'm a realtor that specializes in real estate needs for seniors. And in that process, I rub shoulders with a lot of other experts that have services that are very valuable to seniors. And today we're going to be talking to three of those people. It's Teri Crocker with ViCare Solutions and her partner, Mike.Rabon with ViCare Solutions. And they're going to talk to you about Medicaid and what that is. And then we have Mike.Rabon, who's a reverse mortgage specialist with Mortgage 300. So Teri, tell me, what is Medicaid and how can it help in an elder person's care journey?
Well, first of all, it is the most misunderstood benefit out there, and there's a lot of myths to it, and people think that they don't qualify. But how I see Medicaid is a benefit to help families leverage their resources, or if you have no resources, then it's a benefit to support your care needs. However, if you have resources, it's a phenomenal benefit to be able to stretch your resources even further. And Medicaid in itself is it is for individuals that are over the age of 65, unless they have a proven disability. They can be less than age 65, and they have to have the need of at least two activities of daily living. Those are called ADLs, such as grooming, meal prep, medication reminders, things like that, things when you are independent, and if you become ill or suffer some kind of disease that's not allowing you to be as independent as you were before, so you have to have activities of daily living. Okay, has to be authorized by your doctor that you have this medical need, and it's a benefit that will pay for in-home care services, assisted living, nursing home services,
Wow.
Skilled care at home, a medical alert pendant. There's a meal program, ramps, like if you need assistive devices in the home. There's a program to adapt your home to make changes for your condition.
I had no idea that Medicaid even touches on any of this.
Yes, and people often confuse it with Medicare, because Medicare is available to everyone over the age of 65 unless you've been diagnosed with a disease or can access Medicare. And Medicare covers skilled care, doctor's visits, an episodic skilled event such as a stroke, heart attack, hip and knee replacement, things that are very temporary on the hospital side, and obviously doctor's visits. So at ViCare, what Mike and I focus in on is, people are dealing with a chronic illness, and if you need care, you're going to pay for it privately, or you're going to have either some benefits possibly in place, such as a long-term care policy can help, or possibly what Mike does is a reverse mortgage. And then what would be another natural alternative, if those have either been exhausted or at least accompany those benefits, would be Medicaid long-term care support services. And they can help an individual age in place at home or wherever their home is.
Okay, it sounds like it covers a wide variety.
It does.
Of things.
And it's most misunderstood because people say, I don't qualify.
Right.
I make too much money,
or
I
have
have too many assets,
or
or they're going to take my home. So Mike and I spend a lot of time talking with families, helping them understand that benefit as a way to protect families' assets, to protect a marital spouse that maybe is not suffering health-wise, to protect them. So
give us an example of a client that you've had recently and how Medicaid can come in and help that family.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we're right in the middle of assisting a husband and wife. She's fairly young. She's been diagnosed with MS, She's probably 62, 63 years
Yikes.
old. Unfortunately, she's had to move to a nursing home. The cost of that is over $12,000 a month. So we're looking.
And she's 62, so we're
62.
looking at many, many years
Well,
of
and-
12,000 a month.
Yes, and you just don't know, and so one of the things, a lot of time, patients with MS, they could live, a normal life
Lifespan,
expectancy.
yeah.
And so, her husband's a little older. He's just over 70, but he could live, another 20 years. Fortunately for them, they've done fairly well. They have a significant amount of assets, about $600,000 or $700,000, plus they own their own home. But when you're looking at $150,000 a year in cost,
Wow.
that money's just not going to last very long.
Wow.
And so one of the options in Medicaid is that depending on the assets that you have, you can qualify. But for a couple, the countable assets has to be less than $130,000. So one option is they could spend their assets down at $700,000 down until they had about $130,000, and then she could qualify for Medicaid to pay for those benefits. But as an option, we're able to preserve 100% of their assets and qualify her for Medicaid. So it really allows him
Wow,
to
what a
relax
difference.
from a financial standpoint and go, okay, I'm still going to have this money that took my whole life
To accumulate.
accumulate for my retirement. So, the fact that Medicaid is out there to be able to pay for care for even people that
Have substantial
that's right, have been
assets.
fortunate enough to put together a fair amount of savings in retirement. It's there. So really one of the things that Teri and I really, our goal is to give family choices. And, the choice will be, well, certainly, you have the option to privately pay for care, or you have this other option to be able to preserve assets, either for the healthy spouse, or if there is no spouse, to be able to preserve assets, for the kids.
For the state.
I think it's worth pointing out here that when you're trying to preserve these assets, you have legal structures that need to be set up. And with ViCare, you have a Medicaid expert here, but you also have is it safe to say elder law attorney?
Yeah,
Or-
you could, but the only area that I practice in at this point is Medicaid planning. So that may entail the planning, putting together powers of attorney. It may entail redoing wills so that we can meet any future Medicaid issues. But what I don't do that other elder law attorneys do, I don't do conservatorship, guardianship.
Okay.
We have a network of legal resources that we refer to.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
But you've focused on a narrow area here and become experts
It's-
at all the ins and outs of
It's
that.
pretty much the only thing that we do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure it's very complicated, being a government program. It would have to have all the twists and turns.
Well, it
and-
really is, and in a former life, I was a tax attorney, and the thing about, as we all know, in the area of taxation, there are rules, and there's exceptions to the rules, and exceptions to the exception to the exception, and Medicaid's the same way. There are a number of rules, but then there are exceptions to exceptions to exceptions, and what we do is we help families navigate through those rules to allow them to be able to have the choice of
Have
preserving assets if that's what they want to do.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like a great tool, and more seniors should become aware of that. And when they start having questions, they know exactly who to go to. Teri and Mike with ViCare Solutions. And then Mike.Rabon with Mortgage 300, his solutions fit right into a master plan there too.
Yeah, one of the beauties of Medicaid in the state of Colorado, I don't know if it's true in every state, it's a good question. Once the money in the equity that you activate with a reverse mortgage, that's what you're doing, is activating part of the equity to be used at will. It's sitting on the side, and it's protected. In this state, it's safe. Medicaid, if they do a look back, that money is not going to be touched that's sitting in the line of credit. Do you know if that's true in every state?
No, I really don't. And one of the reasons being is when the federal government set up Medicaid, it's almost like a cafeteria line approach for each state. So Medicaid has all of these federal rules, but then each state got to pick and choose different rules that they wanted to
Or
have in their
combinations.
state. Yeah. And so each state is a little bit different when it comes to Medicaid. So what works in Colorado, may not work in Wyoming or Nebraska or Kansas.
And,
But
and
I
that's
bet
a good
you have-
point to understand. It could be different.
But I bet you have resources in those other states
Oh,
that
certainly.
you can refer
Yeah.
people to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
When we think about, again, what I always keep reminding families is benefit is there to pay for that care that they would have to otherwise pay out of pocket. So, it is a complex benefit with lots of rules. But as I believe wholeheartedly, it is very powerful to be able to get the care that you need in some amazing care communities, such as assisted living, nursing home care, care at home. And that's where most people want to be until
Right.
they die, is at home.
right.
So there is just a vast array of services out there for families to live at home as long as possible.
And everyone wants to have more options. I think the most important thing that I'm hearing from Teri and from Mike is that you have to start early before an illness hits.
You do. And the other day I was talking to an individual's adult son, and he said, looking at these rules, it looks like, my dad had to give away all his money or just have nothing. And I said, yes, on paper, when you look at the benefit, it's very...
It does look like that.
It is. But by starting early and understanding, first of all, what do your parents have? Think about, what are the potential, how much money we could be spending. Because there are certain diseases that have a very long lifespan, such as MS. We were talking earlier. It all depends on how old they are and what the disease progression is. So you kind of have to estimate how much money we think we're going to have, right? And then how does that work with, do they have a home? Do we need to sell it? Do I need to buy the home? Because I may want to preserve this family home. My father wanted me to have the home. So there's just so many things to think about that play into what I think good caregiving.
So when you start thinking about those options, these are the experts to consult. And Teri and Mike, tell us how we can get hold of you.
Well, you can call me directly at my work cell number, which is 303-907-0102, or you can find us at ViCareSolutions.com.
And your information and resources tie in directly with Mike.Rabon from Mortgage 300. And stay tuned, we'll have some more interviews in the next video.